Hey guys, welcome to the last or second last episode of the year for Anthony's Facebook Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anthony Peluso, CEO of Wealth for Life and Australian property expert. And today's topic is Australia's next property boom, when it's going to happen and how you can take advantage of it and prepare for it. So, we've got the last few days of our competition that we're running, our family and friends referral program. Come on board, give us a call, take advantage of the amazing vouchers that we're giving away, my vouchers. For family and friends, we're a week out of Christmas. There's good things you can do with those vouchers between now and next Tuesday. Also, we're in our last week of our Apple, iPod, iPad, HomePod, Cherie giveaway as well, so take advantage of that. That runs out on Monday next week for those of you that are still here. So yeah, come on board and say hello to us and go into the draw for that stuff. Okay, so Australia's next property boom, when it's going to happen and how to prepare for it. So for those of you that follow the property market or follow our Facebook Live videos every week, you'd be well aware of, the current condition of the property market. Okay, so not as bad as the media makes it out to be. One thing I'll tell you about the media, right? It's never as bad as what the media make it out to be, and it's never as good as what the media make it out to be. 20 years or so of experience tells me that. So, but let me give you again a quick summary of the current market conditions. Okay, so the current credit squeeze with lenders has slowed down the property market somewhat. Okay, so a lot of the issues that happened over the last 12 months with the Banking Royal Commission, and again a lot of the lenders involving themselves in some questionable lending practices, and also APRA coming on board over the last 2 years, and let's say making life a little bit more difficult for investors. And couple that with a downturn in foreign investment has put the brakes on to some degree with the Australian property market, okay? More so Melbourne and Sydney. And again, when I talk about the property market in Australia, I'm really talking about Melbourne and Sydney, okay? If you're an investor, I'm just going to tell you straight, most commentators won't tell you this, right? Don't pay any attention to any other state other than Melbourne and Sydney. If you're an investor, you're there to make money, okay? Melbourne and Sydney are the only two cities where you're going to make some serious money long term. Yes, you'll get a spike in Perth, and Tasmania's doing quite well right now, and if you time the market correctly in areas like Brisbane and Darwin, you'll make good money quickly. But for a lot of people, that's speculating, okay? And I don't know anybody that can pick the bottom of the market and the top of the market. And if you're speculating, you need to know how to pick the bottom and the top of the market, or else you're going to get hurt and get hurt badly. As an example, take the people that invested in the mining boom over in Perth some years ago. Everybody got in because all the work that BHP and the other mining companies were doing out there. They all got in. They all did really, really well, but they thought it would go forever. Okay, and of course, when BHP and all the other resources companies pulled out of Perth, the market collapsed and people were left there not knowing what to do. So some smart research would have indicated that Perth really hasn't done much as a city for 20, 30, 40 years, and there's a reason for that, okay? So put your attention on Melbourne and Sydney. If you're a serious investor and you want to make a big play moving forward, put your attention on Melbourne and Sydney, okay? They're the only two markets that are going to make you money long term, okay? So, they're the current conditions right now in the marketplace, okay? Pretty much driven by the credit squeeze from the major banks right now. Getting smacked across the wrist by APRA and more so the Royal Banking Commission, okay? Moving forward, this is where I see the market going. Right now, the credit squeeze is starting to affect a lot of developers, okay? So, developers, people that are building and developing real estate out in Melbourne and Sydney around Australia are finding it difficult to get lending from banks, okay? So what that's doing is actually putting their projects on hold, and also starting to impact just a little unemployment, okay? When developers can't get any work, any lending, they can't build their projects, they've got to lay people off, Okay, Reserve Bank of Australia has already picked up on this and are starting to look at their monetary policy for the next 12 months. So I don't see the credit squeeze continuing for. I don't see it ever getting back to where it once was. I mean, God, let's face it. I mean, in America back in the early 2000s, you could go to 7-Eleven and get a home loan, right? Boy, times have changed. Even when I got into the market, I remember and they're still around in some degree, but no doc loans and low doc loans, right? A 5-minute conversation with your mortgage broker and you had a loan approved, right? So those days are never going to come back, okay? And I don't think that's smart practice actually by an investor or by a lender. So, but I also don't think that banks are going to continue the credit squeeze that they've currently got in play right now, because in the end it'll affect the greater economy, okay? And with the housing market and real estate market, being the third biggest industry in Australia, that part of our economy needs to continue to flow and move forward and grow. So where developers are unable to get lending for their projects right now, you start to have a supply issue later on, where not enough dwellings will get built. And again, I don't see population migration into Australia slowing down anytime soon. Then you have a demand issue where you have that supply-demand issue where there's not enough supply and too much demand for real estate. So and don't forget, property is still considered as one of the most safest investment tools for wealth building, okay? Well ahead of shares and businesses, purely because of the low risk involved, okay? So I do see the lending becoming a little bit more flowing over the next 12 months. I don't think, once the Banking Royal Commission findings come out in January, February next year, there'll be some good there'll be policies that will be put in place if they haven't been already by a lot of the lenders, but you will start to see credit being made available, more so to investors, okay? Owner-occupiers right now have got it quite good. So here's what I would actually do if I was you as an investor or a homeowner looking to get into the market, okay? Start to get your finances ready. I spoke about this not long ago, right? But get your finance sorted. When it comes to investing, money is everything. We're only doing this for money, right? So get your finances sorted. Get your lines of credit set up. Clean out any dirty debt that you've got, any consumer debt. Get that handled and put yourselves at the starting line, right? To take advantage of the opportunities that currently exist and will exist moving forward, all right? That's one of the first things I want you guys to have a look at, because it doesn't matter how great an opportunity you come across or how good the market is in your favor. If your lending criteria or if your ability to get finance is not something that you can do, that doesn't really matter what the market does, okay? So put yourself in a position where you get your lending sorted right now, okay? And this is actually a great time of year to do it, okay? So I do start to see the market turning late 2019, okay, July onwards, 2019, for the reasons I've given above. But at the same time, right, this is what we always tell our clients: don't wait to hear about it in the media, okay? The reality is that once the Herald Sun or the Age here in the papers in Melbourne, right, or the Sydney Morning Herald start to talk about the market going off again, most people pick it up in the paper and then go out and buy property. It's too late at that time, okay? Understand that right now we're probably in a downturn, if you understand the property cycle, and it's not going to last forever. And as I said last week in the episode last week, the smart investors that have been investing for 20, 30, 40 years, they understand this is just part of the process, okay? They don't get affected by this. They predict it, they know it's coming, and they actually plan for it, okay? So it's not really going to phase the sophisticated investors out there, because it's just part of their plan, okay? So with interest rates also looking to, I don't see interest rates moving up anytime soon, and there's even some talk from the Reserve Bank 2 weeks ago, actually, that interest rates may even come down again. Our economy is quite robust. Our population moving into Australia is quite strong. I don't see that changing for much bigger reasons in the property market. Interest rates again are historically low. And the one thing that a lot of commentators and economists out there always neglect is Australia's sentiment, right, and affinity for Australian real estate. Okay, yes, we all talk about the great Australian dream and with being your dream home and being your home, but it's also one of these things in Australia that one of Australia's favourite pastimes is investing in real estate. So a lot of commentators neglect that, and you've got to take that into account because it can actually buck against what's predicted out there. And there's so many of us that can't understand why the market continues to do so well in areas like Melbourne, especially Melbourne, not so much Sydney, but in areas like Melbourne. And that's the love that people have for Australian real estate. So make sure you take that into account. It's not something that you actually hear spoken about quite a lot in the media, but I see that as the X factor. Okay, it's the safest wealth creation tool that a lot of us use to help us build wealth and set ourselves up financially. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Okay, banks also need to flow credit because they've got shareholders to report to, and they can only increase interest rates to existing customers for so long. They need to start getting new business coming through. Okay, so I think by mid 2019 you're going to start to see signs of a market starting to go north again. Okay, but again, don't wait for that to happen. Get on board now. There's amazing buying opportunities out there. We're seeing them every day for our clients. I was with one of my VIP clients last night, and his daughter came on board and bought some amazing real estate where all indicators are that she's going to do extremely well over the next 2 years, right? And that's purely driven by a need to actually set oneself up financially. Okay. So in closing, how to prepare for the market, how to prepare for the next 2 years, also the next 12 months. Get your credit sorted, get your finance sorted. Okay. Come in and have a chat to our mortgage broker here, our mortgage brokering team, Wealth for Life Mortgage Solutions. There's some very clever ways that you can clean up your some dirty debt and get your lines of credits and offset accounts set up, and be ready that when an opportunity comes up, you've got a deposit and you can actually use that to negotiate terms and conditions and price to your favor. That's what you need to do to set yourself up and get ready for the next 12 months. I'm extremely optimistic because I look at the bigger picture in Australia as opposed to what the commentators are talking about, like a 1.6% drop in property prices over the last quarter. If you notice the media, they only talk over the last few months. They never talk longer than 12 months. And a funny story I read during the week was I think a property purchaser went in to get finance for a property she purchased, obviously, and the banks were giving her a hard time about I think she had that question one of her items on her bank statement. It was like the cost of a souvlaki, and I'm like, come on, man, we can't continue to live in conditions where banks are questioning your spending and they're questioning things like the cost of a souvlaki, right? So I don't think that's something that we're going to be continuing to go through for too much longer. Okay, so get your finances set up. Very, very, very important. Okay, money is power, and if you can have your finances set up, you can take advantage of opportunities others can't. And don't wait for the media to tell you that the market's going great, because by that time it's usually too late. Okay, if you know what to buy and if you know where to buy, you'll do really, really well. In fact, a lot of the properties that we source for our clients here continue to do well, irrespective of what the economy is doing. Okay, and that's the type of real estate you want. So give us a call here, have a chat to our team here about getting your finances sorted and preparing you for the next 12 months ahead. All right, so thank you so much for listening in to our episode number 20, I think it is, right?
I think it is. Yeah.
Good. So 20 episodes down, plenty more to go next year. We've got a really cool Christmas special coming up next week. Special time of 1 p.m. Won't be done out of my offices here, so it'll be in a different location, obviously being Christmas Day. So on behalf of myself and all of my team here at Wealth for Life, I want to wish you and your families and loved ones a Merry Christmas and safe and prosperous New Year. Thank you for all your support, all your loyalty, for tuning in. We love your questions. We love your feedback. You know what? Even some of the negative feedback, right? And again, you know, we're going to do it bigger and better next year. So anything we can do to help you, give us a call. Log on to our website, wealthforlife.com.au. We'd love to look after you and your families financially. Take care, guys, and we'll see you next Tuesday.